Well, let me tell you, we are in for a treat today because we have been joined by none other than Russ Scala himself, the author of Biohacker and an expert on the citizen science movement. Russ, we have a lot to unpack here, but first I'd love if you could give us a broad overview of what the citizen science movement is for those watching who may be unfamiliar with this term.
Yeah, I think right now is an amazing time in medicine. We know that diabetes, heart disease, and cancer is breaking our medical system. And individual influencers, doctors are now coming forward. People are forming communities on Facebook, whether you're a diabetic, whether you have lupus, whether you have dementia, and they're forming communities and they're running their own lab work. And I'm telling you, it's amazing to see how much these people know. I've talked to them, and their physician wouldn't order blood work, but now the laboratories are allowing people to run their own lab work and pay for it. Now this is ground zero. People are getting the blood work that they need. They're forming communities, and they're getting questions answered that they're not getting in traditional medicine. So this citizen science movement is going to help shift the paradigm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think people are starting to realize, whether it's diet, nutrition, hormonal replacement therapy, they know that everybody is biochemically unique. Big pharma, one size fits all. What we do is treats everybody. Everybody's metabolism is a little unique based on their age and their heritage and their genetics, right? So with the compounding pharmacies I work with the physicians that I've trained, we see this this information is like on the tip of the spear right now. We're in the middle of a change, and it's going to be huge. And a lot of that is thanks to the influencers, regular people that get on social media and start telling their story. I love hearing those people. I love talking to them. It's mind-blowing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this paradigm shift being the tip of the spear. I want to bring up this really shocking, quite frankly, disturbing statistic facing the country right now, that our current medical system is the third leading cause of death in the U.S. behind cancer and heart disease. Now, I can't fathom how that could be possible in a highly developed first world nation. How do we reconcile that fact? Why is that the case?
Well, I think one of the things, look at all the malpractice attorneys out there. I do a lot of consulting for malpractice firms, and again, everybody's biochemically unique. You can't just give people one drug. You can't just give people one antidepressant. We have to look at multiple metabolic markers. A lot of mistakes are made with medication. You know, a lot of people, they're given the wrong medication. People are on polypharmacies. The thing about our medical system is it's compartmentalized. If you have diabetes or heart disease or cancer, you're going to have 3 different physicians that never talk to each other. You're going to be on a battery of 4 or 5 different medications that we don't know how those medications are going to react in your body. So a lot of people overdose, a lot of people die. There's a lot of medical errors out there. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I've been in medicine 40 years. My job is to always ask questions and to get people answers. And when you see what's going on out there, when you see what the malpractice attorneys are doing, well, you see now we're starting to see class action suits for Ozempic, and you know, the new weight loss drug. So again, it doesn't work for everybody. You know, it's a GLP-1 antagonist, and they're marketing it all over the United States. But you got to be careful when you take it. You know, you got to understand what this drug does to your metabolism. And again, Vioxx was a great anti-inflammatory. You could Google this. Folks, Google Vioxx and the deaths caused by Vioxx. I think it's over 30,000 heart attacks were caused by Vioxx. And I was looking at Vioxx like 15 years ago because I knew it caused hypercoagulability. When you took Vioxx, it thickened up the blood, and when you thicken up the blood, you have a chance for a stroke or a heart attack. So, you know, it's now come forward. The pharmaceutical companies had to pay, I don't know how many billions they had to pay, but Vioxx was one of those drugs that was approved by the FDA and caused a lot of harm to people. So we see this throughout. The FDA approves a lot of drugs that cause damage to people, and that's sort of where we are right now. What people want to think about is correcting your hormonal levels, correcting your nutritional levels, because they impact more metabolic pathways than a drug. For instance, we got 28,000 psychiatrists in the United States. They hand out antidepressants like candy. Well, what if these psychiatrists started looking at thyroid levels? What if these psychiatrists started testing women's progesterone. Natural bioidentical progesterone in a woman attaches to the same receptor sites as Prozac and Xanax. So if you, and I'm training, I'm working with psychiatrists now. If they do hormonal testing and they look at the gut microbiome, the second brain, now they're doing the patient a service instead of just numbing them with an antidepressant. And I'm not against antidepressants, but you never get to the root cause of the problem. We have to look at everybody's unique metabolism.
We have to go beyond medication.
Yeah. I mean, you know, chronic disease is what's killing our country right now. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and dementia. What do they all have in common? Inflammation, elevated, they have elevated blood glucose and elevated insulin levels. Those are the three things that are across the board that happen. I believe, no, they're now calling dementia type 3 diabetes, because as your blood sugar goes up, it really causes a lot of damage. It's called oxidative stress. Your body does not want your blood sugar to go up. It causes a lot of damage. So now people are wearing continuous glucose monitors, and they're monitoring what they eat after every meal. It's really cool. So again, this citizen science movement is really powerful, and I'm glad that we're part of it.
Absolutely, and we've talked a bit about what physicians are doing wrong, the FDA, that whole industry, but at Scala Precision Health, what are you guys doing differently? If we could do a real world example, I'll take myself. Say if I was depressed, or I wasn't feeling well, I was putting on weight, what would you be doing to address that?
The first thing is we look at all your hormonal levels, because fat distribution is genetically determined, hormonally regulated. That's a sweeping generalization.
Okay.
So if you're low in testosterone, thyroid, or some women become estrogen dominant, the higher your estrogen levels are, you're going to store body fat. That's just across the board. One pharmacy I work with had over 10,000 women on their hormonal replacement program. So you drop a little weight, you balance out we help you drop some weight. Okay, we put you on a diet that's customized to you. We meet you where you are in your life. Are you going to school? Are you going through divorce? Did you lose a family member? Where are you in your life? What's your eating schedule? So we start peeling a layer off the onion. We test your hormonal levels. We look at nutrition. We look at your gut microbiome, because you are not what you eat, you are what you absorb. If once we get older, our body doesn't pull nutrients out of food as efficiently. So every day we need about 22 minerals, 13 vitamins, 8 amino acids, 2 essential fats. If your gut isn't pulling that out of food, you're going to mine it from your own tissue. That's why elderly people on a walker, they've lost all their muscle mass. And today, it's crazy. If you were to take your mom and dad in there to your doctor and say, listen, my mom's losing muscle mass, is there anything he can do? He's going to look at you like a deer in the headlights. There isn't nothing they can do.
Old age.
Right. And the work we've done with bodybuilders and endurance athletes, understanding muscle wasting. Elon Musk wants to get to Mars, but he's not studying muscle wasting in the astronauts. They're always focusing on the propulsion system. It's going to take 2 years to get to Mars. What's going to happen to the metabolism of the astronaut? I read Mark Kelly's book called Endurance. He spent a year in space. He was on a high carbohydrate diet. The book starts out when he came home, he was in an inflammatory state. NASA did not check his hormone levels, did not focus on muscle wasting, which is interesting to me, because I wonder who the dietitians are that are developing the astronauts' programs, because they should be maintaining their muscle mass when they're in space. And again, I did a video of that on the Russ Scala YouTube channel, and I'm covering a lot of ground here, but there's a lot of things that we think these companies are just on the tip of the spear, very innovative, but when you start drilling down on it, you see that they're not doing the basics, and I think there's opportunity, right?
Yeah, especially you mentioned not doing the basics, hormonal testing,
right?
Blood work. That's not something that we can get at our typical physician's office? Right,
no. Doctors don't usually do hormonal testing, because when the results come back, they don't know what to do. So there's a business model out there called the blue ocean and a red ocean strategy. A red ocean is when every company is competing for pricing, and there's a lot of blood in the water. A blue ocean is when you create a new market. Okay, in 2005, when I was working with anti-aging centers, that was a blue ocean. They took over the hormone replacement market. I set up clinics from Boca to Beverly Hills. That was a blue ocean. Well, now, in Orlando here, we're surrounded by like 8 hormonal centers. Okay, now the new blue ocean is taking the hormones and targeting disease-specific treatment protocols. Like we said, psychiatry, diabetes, heart disease. That's the next paradigm shift. So, the citizen science movement, laboratories are now offering people and sending test kits to people's homes where they could do a test, send it in, and get their own results without a physician.
Wow.
And a lot of these testing companies are on the tip of the spear. They're making a lot of money. They're doing a great service for people. Imagine running your own lab work and then with the understanding that your physician isn't going to run it for you. Or he tells you that I can't do this because your insurance isn't going to pay for
I mean,
it.
that's just discouraging.
But,
and,
right?
you know.
So now you become the CEO of your own health. You run your own test results. You see if you got deficiencies.
Powerful.
Then you go on that Facebook group and you go, wow, there's 100 other people that are doing this test. Here's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Now you just went to the next level in your own health.
And this is all part of the citizen science movement.
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting. To me, it's like I said, I started this in 2000, and I had more doors slammed in my face, like I say, than Jehovah's Witness. And, I've always tried to find ways to drip science on people and to transfer learning to behavior. And that's the hook. Sometimes it's just a saying. Like one of the sayings I came up with for my company was, everybody has a story. Mm-hmm. And I got that from reading the guy that started the behavioral science unit in the FBI. And to find serial killers. And you know what he did? You know his mind-blowing idea he came up with? He went to prisons and he interviewed all the serial killers. And he started building profiles. Mm-hmm. And then when certain police departments around the United States would have a serial killer and they got stuck, he would come in and help arrange the puzzle pieces. Right? Wow. I mean, it's cool, right? I mean, this guy was a thinker.
Yeah.
Why not interview the people that committed the crime? I always say I interview the people that have the disease. You want to learn something about somebody? Talk to somebody that have had.
So in the prisons, you're in the hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
The sick people.
Maybe it's not a good analogy, but what I'm saying is it's all about information. It's going to the professionals that have it. There's a lot of influencers out there that are talking about one medication, try one vitamin. It doesn't work. Everybody's biochemically unique, so we all have different dosing. We all have different hormonal levels. You know what I mean? And once regular folks wrap their head around this, I don't care if it's a truck driver. He can take control of his health. I think that's what really keeps me motivated, because I see stuff right away, and I'm like, I got to do something. People say, Russ, you feed people with a fire hose, because I want to help them. So I've learned to dial it back, find out how I could help transfer learning to behavior. In a short story format, and that's sort of what we're doing right now.
Absolutely. I do want to go back to something you mentioned earlier. We were talking about Ozempic, new weight loss drug, semaglutide, used by every celebrity from A to Z. We've all seen that. Now, you're a physician, of course. I have to ask what you would say to anyone watching. We clearly will probably have some people watching who are on that themselves, and I know you have strong opinions on these things. What would you say?
Yeah, I'm not a physician, but I train physicians. I have physicians that work for me. Just wanted to make that cleared up. I wanted to clear that up. Mm-hmm. This GLP-1, our body naturally produces GLP-1, and it's been studied for a lot of years. We know the intestinal tract is very important when it comes to hunger. Well, everybody's hunger is a little different. Ozempic and the semaglutide is real popular, and you get a lot of weight loss with it. But what we're finding is you get a lot of muscle loss too.
And we're facing lawsuits now.
Yeah, exactly. So what I try to do is educate the physicians. Like, why don't you do the hormonal testing? Why don't we maintain somebody's hormonal levels if they're going to go on Ozempic so they don't have the muscle loss? I mean, I'm not shooting it down. I've worked with people that had bariatric surgery. They rearrange their intestinal tract and have part of it removed for $40,000. And now they're really deficient and they're not absorbing nutrients. And so I try to plug myself in. The reason doctors don't like this program that I developed because they got to spend so much time with the client, and that takes away from.
God forbid they have to spend some time with their sick client, right?
Yeah, they got to pay the bills. I understand it. I'm not shooting anybody down, but and then again, there's a group of people out there that want a quick fix,
And for in conclusion, just in speaking about the citizen science movement, what can people do to start today to embark on this movement and kind of take control over their own health?
Well, one of the things they could start, they could go on the Russ Scala YouTube channel. I created a YouTube channel. It starts educating you on a variety of topics on a variety of diseases. Form a community. Form a community if you have any kind of illness. or if you have brain fog, you could order your own testing. You could call us. Well, I don't charge anybody to set them up. I even consult their physician for them because I'm trying to build disciples along the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Amazing.
So I do train physicians to open up this stuff in their practice, and I bring in the pharmacy, the training, and doctors that are innovative, that are on the tip of the spear, that really want to make a difference. They cut their practice from 3,000 down to 500, and they really start enjoying medicine again. You know, a lot of doctors are burned out too.
Of course.
You know what I mean? They're fried, and they got into this because they wanted to help people, and they're in the tank. They're no different than a war vet or a first responder. Excuse me. So.
Well, I thank you for what you're doing to help. I know all of us watching are appreciative of what you're doing at Russ Scala Precision Health. So thank you for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to have you,
Yeah,
Russ.
thanks for doing your homework. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I love working with you.
We love you too. Now, for more information on Scala Precision Health, you can head over to scalaprecisionhealth.com and the Russ Scala YouTube channel, where a wealth of free knowledge awaits you. Thank you for watching.